Welcome to Grappling with the Great, a forum for promoting ethical thinking and ethical mindset to help us better navigate the moral challenges of everyday life by seeing both sides of complex issues more clearly. I'm Rabbi Yonason Goldson, and I'd like to welcome my guest for today. We have Deb Brown-Marr. Did I get that right?
That's right.
All right. Back again with us. She is a sales expert and author of Sell Like Jesus. She equips others to sell and serve their customers with integrity. Yoram Solomon is TEDx and keynote speaker, multiple startup founder, author of The Book of Trust, and host of the Trust Show podcast. And Andy Vargo is a speaker, life coach, host of Own Your Awkward podcast, and author of Your Awkward Life Gets Better. Well, I certainly hope so. Thank you all for being with me today. And here is today's ethics challenge. A close friend calls you up and explains that his brother and family are planning a vacation. His brother, however, is struggling financially and can't afford nice accommodations. Your friend wants to help his brother cover the cost of the trip, but he knows his brother is too proud to accept his help. He has a plan. He'll tell his brother that he has a friend, you, who owns an AirBNB, where he can stay for no charge. Your friend will pay you for the rental, and his brother will think you're just doing your friend a favor by letting the brother stay there. You agree. The brother comes with his family and they have a wonderful vacation. As they're packing up and preparing to leave, they repeatedly express how grateful they are for your kindness and present you with a thank you gift, a fancy crystal vase bought at a local curio shop. Do you accept the gift? And in hindsight, should you have agreed to go along with the ruse in the first place? The floor is open.
Who doesn't love a good ruse? I mean, come on. This scenario really has me thinking, because situations like this, I can start to see both sides of it so much. I think, I want to help somebody. But when you come down to that honesty, I tend to want to guide my friend to perhaps have a more honest choice where I'm not put in that situation. So when it comes to getting that vase, I would feel like I would have to say, well, this isn't owed to me because it was somebody else. But then you're blowing the cover of your friend. So I don't know. That's a trouble with once you start to lie, even with good intentions. Now you are down this path where you have to continue to cover that up.
Yeah, Mark Twain said, always tell the truth, because then you don't need to have a good memory.
So, it's that's exactly where I was going to go with that. Do you remember the TV show Three's Company?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
not until just now.
Every episode was exactly the same. Something is happening. Somebody is not telling somebody something, and this thing just keeps snowballing. Mark Twain said, you don't have to remember. You don't have to remember anything. I like to expand on it. If you tell the truth, as long as you tell the truth, you don't have to remember what you said, when you said it, who you said it to. When somebody asks me to lie on their behalf, this is where we're going into, is it a white lie? Is it for somebody's benefit? It's a slippery slope. I may not know the entire story. A lie is a lie to me. It's I don't want to take part of it. Find another story to sell to your brother. But I don't want to be the one saying, that was free. And then at the end, all of a sudden you get the gift, and now the story is changing.
Well, if I read the scenario correctly, it wasn't that the brother didn't say thank you for providing this for free. He just expressed his gratitude. So take the vase, say thank you, and leave I think the lie took place between the brothers. I'm just providing a service. If I'm the Airbnb owner, I'm providing a service to the person who hired me, And it doesn't matter to me whether he came or his brother came.
So what do you do if
what
do you do if when you get the vase, the person says, the brother says, thank you for letting us live here for free, stay here for free? What do you do then?
Yeah, when we run an
say thank you.
Airbnb, we don't generally give a gift to the host because we paid to stay there. Right? He
Right.
thinks he's been given this opportunity to stay for free, and that's why he's giving the gift. So if I accept it, am I accepting under false pretenses, and is that wrong?
Well, and not to get too judgmental here, but where did he get the money for the vase? Like yeah, like that's where I wonder. It's like, well, maybe even just a discounted rate would have covered what we needed, and it wouldn't have even needed the vase.
Let's not read too much into this. Let's assume that he was budgeting a few $100s for the residence, and he spent $50 on the vase. We can get around that one.
And we are ignoring the I think the most significant ethical question: is it an ugly vase?
That's true. Yeah, there's a tangent we could go down. One thought that occurred to me too is if this is a really close friend of mine and I own this property, I probably would be fine with even letting them stay there without charging the brother, and that would remove any of that in it, and it could be just as the brother told the story.
One of the things that comes up in these conversations is there are lots of what ifs,
Sure.
lots of variables. And sometimes we need to know those variables in order to get to a meaningful decision. But sometimes we can just sort of go with the narrative as we have it, and try to sort of work our way through the weeds here.
But you're obviously you're trying to get to the bottom of at that point in time when you have somebody standing in front of you believing in something that somebody else had told them, and this could apply to many different scenarios, and they ask you, they don't just give you a gift, but they actually say thank you for doing something that you haven't done. We're going to go back. First of all, did I play a role in it? I mean, did I know that this is how it's going to be presented? Maybe I didn't even know. He's giving me the vase and I go, oh no, I charged, I got paid for it. I don't even know that. But my guess is that your scenario is that I do know. I from the get-go, I would not want to take part in this. I would, and we all find ourselves in situations very similar to that. And I always tell people when they ask me, if he asks you, just say that it was free, or if he asks you, just say this. My answer is always automatically, absolutely not. No, you want to find another story? Find another story. And it's not that I'm worried about the consequences to me, the blowback on me, as to me, it's a slippery slope. It's where is the line? Is the line this? And this is why I asked white lie versus, a more damaging lie. Where's the line?
So the lie is between the brothers, really.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point of origin. And as a friend to the brother who wants to give this to his brother, I could have the discussion and say, gee, don't you want to just be upfront and let him know? But that would depend on what I know about the history of the family. So again, we're into the what ifs. And isn't that interesting? Because I can't help but use the filter of my experiences to interpret this. I understand the brother dynamic. And so I'm perhaps, because of my past history, more willing to say that's between them. This is a transaction between me and the one brother, and I'm fine with that. because it's a financial agreement. And again, I go back to who stays in the home, whether it's the one brother, the other, or both families, is irrelevant to the contract of renting the house.
But
Well,
Deb, that's not. I don't think that
let's
is.
give Andy a shot here, Jorn.
Oh no,
I'm sorry.
I was just thinking that's, you can put it into that context of, okay, well, it's financial, so I'm kind of sorting that personal thing separate from business ethics on, okay, well, if it's a financial transaction, I'm putting it in that place. But then when they come to you and say, now here's this gift, you could accept the gift on the terms of, well, maybe I took a shot to my virtue to actually be a part of this transaction, so I'm accepting the thank you on that terms that I was in this situation.
Gift, take it back to the store, get the money, and send it to the first brother.
Oh, there you go.
Because the vase is really ugly. Sorry.
Yeah, and the other brother's never going to come back to your Airbnb. So, yeah.
I'm still with. I get it. It's a financial transaction. I'm just a side to the financial transaction. But you can, for that amount of money, you can rent my apartment, but not have or my house, but not have me lie. So everything is smooth sailing until the moment he says, here is a gift, whatever gift, or even not a gift. If he just comes to me and says, I really, really appreciate you letting us use the apartment, the house for free. You can't buy that.
It was free to him.
Well, okay. So if the words that he's using is, thank you for not charging any of us for this house, for this rental.
Which he would never phrase it that way, right? Because he doesn't know the rest of the scenario.
Yeah, it is interesting what you're suggesting, Deb, is that this really is between the brothers, and I don't really have a stake in it. Yoram's contention is that I was complicit in a deception. But let me try and dramatize this for a minute. A friend, let's not say a good friend, let's say a casual friend approaches me. Says, you know, my brother, he's really struggling. He wants to have a nice vacation. He can't afford it. He won't accept help from me. And I really want to make this nice for him and his family. I know that his wife and kids would just be so thrilled if they could afford a nicer place than they have access to. And so I've got this plan. It won't cost you anything. You can just help me out by letting my brother think that you, my friend, have provided this for free so that he can stay there. I mean, doesn't that just sound like a nice thing to do?
Now I have Yoram's problem.
This is it's funny. I used to think that lying and not lying is in the black and white, is bad, good, and very absolute. You're trying to put it in a different level. To me, it stays in the black or white. I mean, yes, I think this is great. Only one problem with that, I can't be part of it. You can't ask me to lie. That's, I'll give it to you. If this is really, really important, hell, I'll give it to you for free. How about that?
But have you ever planned a surprise party?
Very good.
Yeah. Have you ever had a party where there's an amount of deception because you're doing something good, or there's a gift that you ordered for somebody and you have to hide it at home before you give it to them? That's
excellent, Andy. Excellent. Is that different, Yoram?
Well, no, you actually brought up a very interesting point. It's one thing to say, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to hide it, I'm going to spring it at the right moment. Where this story falls apart for me is if the person asks me, did you get me something? That's where it falls apart. I can't say no. I'm not going to say no.
That's your superpower.
It's in Jewish teachings, the sages do say that it is permissible and sometimes actually proper to lie for the sake of peace, especially peace in the family. I'm not sure this situation rises to that level, but it's it's I think Yoram, your point is critical, that once you start to make compromises, then there is that slippery slope. Once you move the line, then it becomes much easier to move the line again and again.
And maybe it's a fear that I have of myself and of a deterioration of my own integrity and ethical values, that I'm afraid that if I'm going to let myself move this line 1 inch, then I will let myself do it again. And I don't want to let myself do it. So I'm the one holding myself to can't cross that line.
You know, the question that pops in my head, especially when you talk about this keeping peace in the family with a lie, is I had this thought at the beginning of, well, if I take this vase, but I think I'm taking the high road by telling the brother, well, I can't take it, or I'm going to take it, but it's really your brother who paid for it. Is that really taking the high road if I'm causing now an interaction between them that I'm now putting it back in their space?
Right. In other words, I'm holding on to my integrity at someone else's expense.
Exactly.
Which is itself a whole complicated issue. So Yoram wants to avoid the whole issue by never getting involved in this in the first place.
No, it's fair.
It's not so much as not getting involved as it is when you ask me to, you're not asking me yet to tell him something. You're asking me to just accept him. He's going to come in. Don't worry. You're the one paying for it, and so on. I'm just going to make it clear from the beginning. As long as he doesn't ask, I'm not telling. There's a difference between the whole truth and nothing but the truth. But the moment he's going to ask, now we stopped with this not being part of the whole truth to this being a lie. And that's...
Well, on the other hand, when if you accept the vase, you still haven't lied.
Until he said why I'm accepting it.
Well,
plus,
if he says thank you for letting me stay here for free, then you can go back to, I think it was Deb's suggestion that it was free to him.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't spoken an untruth, right? If the lie of omission is okay to let him stay there under false pretenses, then is it different to accept the vase under false pretenses?
Yeah, you facilitated a free transaction on his behalf.
Yeah.
Otherwise known as aiding and abetting.
Okay, fair.
So I have to confess, I argued against my own inclination, which would be to say, you need to tell your brother, because I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not comfortable with him not knowing. And only because I believe the black and white about lying. There is no good lie. I would much rather be forthcoming, open, encourage, teach someone, coach someone how to have that discussion with a loved one, even be there with them to have that discussion, rather than collude. I have to say that because I'm the author of Sell Like Jesus, right? Because I don't believe in deception being good in any way, shape, or form.
And Deb, I don't see my role as telling one brother you have to level with your brother. That's between them. That's not my, unless they ask me to take part of that. But otherwise, that's not my role to tell you how to behave. That's on you. All I can tell you is just one thing. Don't drag me into this, because I don't tell lies. If you accept that, fine. Just know, if he's asking at the end, what made you give us the house for free? I'm going to say wasn't free. Your brother paid.
The check from your brother.
Yeah, the check from your brother made me give it for free.
Yep.
What if you could be, let's say, evasive and say something like, acts of kindness are their own reward.
Now you're lying through your teeth. That's not an act of kindness.
Acts of kindness are their own reward. I didn't say this was an act of kindness.
Oh, so now we're going, I did not have a sexual relationship with that woman.
It all depends on how you define words at this point.
I'm sorry I brought this up, but it just, that's school. I served 4 years on the school district board, one of the biggest school districts in our nation, actually. And every time they put out a bond, and I'm fighting this right now, they make this statement of, we're taking this bond, we're taking this debt, we're going to do all those great things with the money that we're going to collect without raising the tax rate. And people just miss the word rate. It kind of goes over their head, because what they didn't realize is my property value just went up 29%. So sure, they're going to raise my taxes 10% this year, 10% next year, 9% the following year if it doesn't keep on going up. But it sounds great. So I am not for mincing the words here. And, I'm going to say a general statement because I am misleading them.
Yeah. And of course, that's really the point there, that you don't have to speak a literal untruth to be deceptive. In fact, the best lies are those that stay closest to the truth in a way that misleads.
Yeah.
The issue here again is there a benefit that outweighs the level of deception? Let's go back to the accepting the vase. So you suggested return it to the store, but is it unethical for me to keep the vase because it was given under false pretenses? Is it my responsibility? Let's say he doesn't say anything. Let's say he just says, "Thank you for letting me stay here. I'd like this. Here's a token of my appreciation."
I think there's nothing wrong with keeping it at that point.
Well, depends on what it looks like. Again,
well, whether you want to or not is a separate issue.
Yeah, you don't have to keep it, but there's nothing wrong if you do.
Having bad taste is not unethical. It's just disturbing.
Right.
I think again, if the statement is, "Thank you for letting me stay here. Here's a vase." Or, how about an Amazon gift card? I don't know why we're stuck on vase. An Amazon gift, here is an Amazon gift card. Thank you for letting me stay here. That's fine. The moment they say, "Thank you for letting me stay here for free," that's when I can't accept it. Because
what if my assumption is, and it may be a sound assumption, that the only reason he's giving the gift, whether it's a gift card or a vase, is because he believes he stayed there for free, even if he doesn't say it. Is that something I have to worry about?
Well, this could be me justifying it a little bit, but I feel kind of like what Deb was saying. You were still a part of this transaction, and you still facilitated it. So you did a little bit of work, so it wouldn't be the worst thing if you got a thank you gift out of it.
I think if you accept the transaction in the first place, then it's perfectly okay to accept the vase. Once you enter the transaction, you are part of it, of the deception to some degree. And now we're back to, is it, Jonasson said maybe this situation doesn't measure up to what the Jewish scholars talked about. But I look at a brother trying to do something decent for his brother's wife, his brother's children. He is considering that his brother is a proud man, which is why he would decline the gift. and doesn't want the family to suffer because of his pride. And this is historical. It's happened for years. And this is the way that the brother can give something meaningful to the whole family. I wouldn't mind being part of that. And that's the history that I bring to the scenario. That's the filter that I bring.
That's interesting, Deb. But you also said that you wouldn't want to be part of the lie if it comes to that. So now that you've gone this far to bring peace to the family, are you now going to sabotage that?
No, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things is once you step into a situation, you have already made that choice to put yourself in that place. So then you have to decide, how can I gracefully, how far can I take this, and do I need to take this? And maybe I have to follow through on the deception that I've just jumped into out of respect for the fact that, yes, I said yes, and now it's this loyalty or commitment that I have made, right or wrong in the first place, that I can't back out and now throw the first brother under the bus because I have a change of conscience when I already agreed to this.
Now, the middle ground would be to come back to what Yoram said a little while ago, where I do say to the brother, I'm in total agreement. I think this is wonderful. And I need you to know, if he presses me, I will tell the truth. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Can I let me fast forward this? So I accepted the vase. I said, great. 2 weeks later, I get a call from the brother that stayed in my house, and he's furious because I lied to him.
And he found out how?
Does it matter?
How would he find out?
He found out. Somehow he found out. He stayed at his brother's and he saw a receipt. He happened to see the receipt and he goes, wait, you paid him. Now he's calling me furious. You accepted a vase from me.
I'll give you the vase back.
I didn't want the vase to start with. I told you, give me an Amazon card. But
maybe I posted about it on Facebook and that's how I found out.
Maybe,
yeah. Jonas and
but and by the way, there's another part, and that is Deb.
That's okay.
You placed it as this is a very nice thing to do versus how important is my integrity to me. But how about your role in making lies something that's not acceptable? When I lie, to me, it almost doesn't matter to what extent I lie. But when I lie, I make it acceptable. I make it acceptable for everyone. So I don't just look at this as I'm keeping my own integrity and moral and high ethical bar. I'm looking at this as, if I do this, if I take part in that lie, then I just made the world a slightly worse place to live in, because I just said that lying is okay under certain circumstances. And that's just is a line that's going to keep on moving.
And I think that's really what it comes down to. When you have competing ethical values, there is an ethical value to do kindness, to help people in need, to bring peace into a family. And this is my intent in entering into this contract. And I'm evaluating that the level of the lie that I'm complicit in is outweighed by the good that's being done. If, on the other hand, I say, let's take it to an extreme, and maybe I'll just put this as a question we'll talk about in the next segment. But remember in The Godfather, where he has this line, either your brains or your signature will be on the contract. And now I sign it. Right? Well, now I'm claiming that it's not a an authentic contract because I was coerced, but I put my name on it.
Or brains.
Well, I had a choice. I had a choice.
That was the
I had a
alternative.
choice.
Right.
So
Yeah.
let's get into that one next. I have a couple of other scenarios, but our half hour is up. So I'd like to thank you all, Deb Brown-Marr, Yoram Solomon, and Andy Vargo for joining me in this segment. For those of you who are watching or listening, if you'd like to suggest a scenario for us to take up, please go to my website, jonasongoldson.com, and use the contact box to submit your suggestion. If it's compelling, we'll be happy to make it one of our topics. If you are a Grappling with the Gray member, please use the community link to participate in a follow-up open forum and continue discussion. If you're not a member, please go to gwtg.live. That's gwtg.live. And you can sign up for a free 30-day trial and enjoy member benefits. Please join us again next week when we have another panel and another question to grapple with the gray.